morning and welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be making this lovely Forever Greenery box card. So it's 3D and then we can fold it flat to go in the post. But it's really nice for on someone's mantelpiece. It's really nice for a special birthday or to just make someone feel really special. So this is using the new Forever Greenery Suite from the catalogue. So I'm just going to bring in the catalogue to show you the suite. Absolutely gorgeous. So we've got these lovely papers down here. We've got, look at the gorgeous samples that they've got here. And then, so we're going to be using the papers today. We're also going to be using the stamps and the coordinating dies. So I'll just turn to show you the dies. So these are the dies here. So some of them cut out from the stamps and some of them are extra greenery bits, so you can see these cut round stamps here. So I'll show you the product up close. These are the gorgeous papers. So there's lots of lovely greenery on this side, and then when you turn it over there's some more kind of background patterns, and then this is the stamp set. So you can see you get some nice little sentiments and then all this lovely greenery. I'm going to mix it today with the butterfly gala stamp set, so that's where these butterflies come from. So let's get started on the box. I'm going to do a slightly different one this time, so I'm going to use some old olive. This was garden green background, but I'm going to use an old olive in the one today. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and this piece of cardstock measures 6 inches by 10.5 inches. I'm going to score it along the long side. I'm going to score it at 2.5 inches, then at 5 inches, then at 7.5 inches, and then at 10 inches. And then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to score at 3 inches. But I'm going to score the first 2 panels, so I'm going to score along to 5 inches. Then I'm going to score this side back to 7.5 inches. So this panel in the middle isn't scored here. So I hope you can see that on the camera. So we've scored across these 2 and across the last 2, but not across this middle one. So then we're going to use the trimmer and we're going to put it in at 2.5 inches. And we're going to cut for 3 inches. Then we're going to move it along to 5 inches. We're going to cut to 3 inches. And we're going to move it along to 7.5 inches. Cut to 3 inches. And then we're going to move it to 10 inches. And again we'll cut 3 inches. Then you've got all these cuts along here. I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut this at an angle so that I'm just trimming off this bit of cardstock here, and then I'm going to fold along all the score lines. So you want to fold those ones in and then these ones out. And then I'm just going to glue this little tab here on to this side here. So then I've got this piece of white cardstock. This measures 2.25 inches by 5 3/4 inches. and I'm just going to glue this onto the back of the panel that doesn't have any score marks in. So this is going to be the back of our card, and this is going to be where we write. So I've got 6 panels, and they all measure 2 3/4 by 2 1/4 inches. And then I've got one piece for the back, and that measures 5 inches by 2 1/4 inches. So we're going to glue those on. So this larger piece, that goes on this straight back panel. And then we're going to stick the smaller pieces. They're going to go on the sides and the front first. This is going to stand like this, so we're going to put them on these panels as well. So we're going to put that to one side a second, and I'm going to bring trimmer back in. I've got 2 pieces here that measure 3 inches by about 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score them at 1/4 inch each end. And these are going to be the pieces that hold all our foliage in place in the middle. So we're just going to pin them on the score marks. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue on these ends. And then we're just going to put them into our card. So you want them roughly evenly spaced and not quite at the top of the box, because you don't want them really showing. And then you can just squeeze the box to glue them into place. So then you can see that we've got our 2 panels like that. So now we need to have a think about the decoration. So first I'm going to stamp some butterflies from the Butterfly Gala stamp set. So I'm going to take one of the set of butterflies, and I'm going to take my black ink. It's even Memento black ink, you can use whatever you've got on hand. And I'm just going to stamp 2 sets of butterflies. Then I'm going to take the coordinating punch. I'm just going to punch those out. It punches the large and the small flower out at once. So then I can just chop this bit off to punch the next bit. So then you get these little bodies with the butterfly stamp set. I find it easier to put them on after I've punched the butterflies out, because I find it easier to centre them then. So I'm just going to add bodies onto my butterflies. We're actually not going to use both the big butterflies, so I'll put that to one side. I'm going to use the 2 small ones and 1 big one. I'll save that for another project. So that's our butterflies, and I'm just going to take the dark and the light Calypso Coral stamping blends, and I'm just going to colour these in now. dies to one side. Now we're just going to stamp some of this foliage. So this here I did in garden green to match the cardstock that I use. So I'm going to use Old Olive ink on this one because I'm using Old Olive cardstock so that everything coordinates. So I'm just going to stamp one just so that you can see how beautifully these stamp, because you get so much depth in the image. This is actually a way of stamping that Stampin' Up have trademarked. It's called Distinctive, and it's actually a series of dots that are further away or closer to make it look like it's got so much depth. So it's a really lovely look. I don't want you to have to watch me stamp all of those. So I've got a few bits that I've stamped and cut with the dies. So most of the greenery stamps have coordinating dies. So you can see I've cut those out with the dies. And then I've also cut out some of the ones that don't have stamps, and I've cut them in Old Olive cardstock and gold cardstock. So you get a really nice array of bits and pieces to work with. So the other thing that I've done is cut out one of the stitched circles from the Stitched Shapes die set that you'll have seen me use loads. And I'm just going to stamp on this sentiment in Old Olive. It says, "To a friend that makes me smile." So I think this is a really nice card to make someone feel special. So we'll bring back in our card base so we can build our layers up behind and in front of the strips. So I'm actually going to use some glue dots on the gold foil. So I'm just going to put some of those across the front of here. So I'm just going to stick that on behind this back strip. I find it easier to work from the back to the front because then you can get an idea of how it's building up, and the bigger things tend to go at the back so that you can see it building. So then with the foil it's better to use the glue dots because the glue doesn't stick as quickly, but with this cardstock I'm just going to use a bit of glue. I'm just going to add that on the front of that back panel. So now you can see that just looks like that, and it's already starting to build a little bit. So I've just, these are actually the same die cut, but I've just stuck them on at different angles with the gold behind and the Old Olive in front so that it looks like it's got a bit of depth. And then I'm just going to add this gold one on the next panel in, so I'll stick some more dots on here. So I'm going to stick that behind this one. Like this. And then I think I'm just going to stick this one in front so that can go across there. It's good to just place them in first, just so you know roughly where you want your glue, so you know what angle it's going to sit at. And then I think I'm going to stick this a little bit further down in front of there. So I want this to go across the middle of this piece because I want it a bit further down. So there we go, and you can see it's starting to build nicely. So then at the front, I'll stick some more glue dots on this piece. You just want to make sure that the glue dots don't overhang, because otherwise when you close the card you're going to get everything all glued together. I'm just folding them over a bit where they would have overhung. I'm going to stick that there. I'm just going to stick this piece in this corner. And then I think I'll use this piece for the other corner. So there we go, so that's all our foliage. So then I'm going to use some foam pads just to stick our sentiment on the front. I'm just going to put that on that front panel like that. And then I'm going to fold the butterflies so that the wings stick up a bit. And then I'm just going to glue the back of their bodies so there's a bit of dimension to them. I'm going to glue this big one on here. And I'm going to put one of the small ones on the back here. And then I'm going to add this one to this foliage here. And then that's our box card finished. So these are our two box cards side by side. I'm not actually sure which one's my favourite this time. I'd love to hear which one's your favourite. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. If you have, please like it below and please click subscribe to see future videos. All the products that we've used in today's project are linked in the description down below. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you soon.